Hello and welcome. Have you ever noticed how some sentences just sound right while others feel a little clumsy? Well, a lot of the time, the secret is all about the order of the adjectives. It's this kind of hidden rule in English that native speakers use without even thinking about it. So today, we're going to uncover that secret, and by the end, your own sentences are going to sound so much more natural. Let's dive in.
So, here's what we've got on tap for this explainer. We'll kick things off with why we even need adjectives in the first place, then we'll check out a few special types. From there, we'll get into what I call the adjective jumble, then reveal the golden rule to fix it. After that, we'll build a sentence the right way, and then we'll finish up with a quick recap.
First up, Section 1. Why do we even use adjectives? Before we start trying to put them in order, let's just do a super quick reminder of what their main job is in a sentence.
Just look at the difference here. The boy is standing. It's fine, it's correct, but it doesn't really paint a picture, does it? But the tall, quiet boy is standing near the gate. Boom! All of a sudden you can actually see the scene in your head. That's the power of adjectives. They basically turn black and white sentences into full color.
So, if we want to get official about it, an adjective is a word that describes or gives more information about a noun. That's its whole gig, to add detail and really bring those nouns to life.
Okay, moving on to Section 2. Now, before we get to the big ordering rule, it's actually really helpful to meet three special kinds of adjectives that have their own unique jobs. First, we have interrogative adjectives. The name sounds a little intense, right? Interrogate, but really, it just means they're used to ask questions. The key thing to remember, though, is that they're used with a noun to ask that question. The big three are what, which, and whose. And you can see exactly how this works here. In which pen is yours? The word which is describing the noun pen. Same goes for whose bag. They act like adjectives because they're directly attached to a noun, asking a really specific question about it. Next up are distributive adjectives. Now these guys are super precise. They let us talk about the individual members of a group, one by one. You'll recognize them. Words like each, every, either, and neither.
So, for example, when we say each student received a notebook, we're really emphasizing that this happened to every single student individually. Or in neither answer is correct, we're looking at both answers separately and saying nope to both of them. It's very specific.
And our third special type is the proper adjective. Now, these are probably the easiest ones to spot because they come from proper nouns, names of people or places, and they always start with a capital letter. Yeah, the connection is super clear. The proper noun India gives us the proper adjective Indian. China becomes Chinese. You can see the pattern, right? It's just a direct link from the name of a place to its adjective form. All right, now we get to the absolute heart of today's lesson. Section 3, the adjective jumble problem. This is where we figure out why knowing the right order is so important. So here's the puzzle. We know adjectives are great for adding detail, but what happens when we start piling them on? How do you use a bunch of adjectives to describe one thing without it turning into a confusing mess? Just listen to this sentence. She wore an old Italian cotton comfortable dress. You get what it's trying to say, but it sounds weird, doesn't it? It's clunky, it doesn't flow. That right there is the adjective jumble problem.
And that brings us directly to the solution. Section 4, the golden rule of order. Believe it or not, there is a system that English speakers use, and we are about to break it down so you can use it too.
Okay, deep breath. Here it is. The golden rule. Take a good look at this list. First, we always start with opinion. This is what you think about something. Beautiful, silly, amazing. Next comes size. Large, tiny. After that, we have age. Ancient, new. Then comes shape. Round, square. Followed by color. Red, blue. Then we have origin, where it's from. Italian, Indian. Next up, material, what it's made of. Wooden, cotton. And finally, we have purpose, what it's used for. Think a sleeping bag or a dining table. This is the exact sequence you need to follow.
Now that we know the rule, it's time to actually put it into practice. Section 5, let's build a sentence correctly. We're going to see how this all works in a real example, step by step. We're going to start with the most basic thing we can, a simple noun. Let's just go with a table. Okay, let's add our first adjective. We'll pick one from the shape category. So a table now becomes a round table. Easy enough, right? All right, let's add another detail.
What's the table made of? Let's say it's wooden. Okay, now where does that word go? Let's check our rule. Material comes after shape on our list. So the phrase is a round wooden table. Wait, I think I misspoke. Let's reread that slide. Ah, I see. Shape is number 4, material is number 7, so the adjective for shape should be closer to the noun. So the correct order is a round wooden table. Okay, got it.
Okay, one last thing. Let's add our opinion of it. Let's say we think it's beautiful. According to our rule, opinion is number 1, so it always goes right at the very beginning. So our final, perfectly ordered phrase is a beautiful round wooden table.
And here's where you can really hear the difference. A wooden, round, beautiful table. It's just clunky. But a beautiful, round wooden table, it follows the rule, opinion-shaped material, and it just flows perfectly. It sounds right.
Now here's a really important tip. Just because the rule has 8 categories doesn't mean you should try to use all of them. The goal is always to be clear. Honestly, 2 or 3 really strong, well-chosen adjectives are almost always better than a long, messy list.
And that brings us to our final section, a quick recap, and a look at what's coming next. Let's quickly go over the single most important takeaway from all of this.
So, if you remember one thing from today, make it this order. Take one last good look. Opinion, size, age, shape, color, origin, material, and purpose. Some people use an acronym like OSASComp to help remember the first letters. Whatever you do, commit this sequence to memory, and you'll have mastered a huge part of sounding fluent in English.
Thank you so much for joining me to break down the order of adjectives. Try to practice using this rule when you're writing and speaking. Next time, we're going to explore compound adjectives. I'll see you then.